Welcome back to SYWK Podcast. If you're new here, my name is Desmond Fernandes and my podcast name is Something You Wanna Know. For today's episode, I and my guest will be breaking the myths and facts of self-care and mental health. Joining me for this discussion is someone who was in my previous episode as well. She is an undergraduate student finishing her honors thesis at the University of Victoria. She also conducts workshops to raise awareness for sexualized violence prevention. She aims to work as a forensic psychologist and supports the developing mental health resources in India. She is the one and only Chitra Balakrishnan. If you haven't checked out our previous episode, which is what they don't tell you about mental health and self-care, please do and then come back to this episode. If you do find this episode valuable, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So the first myth what we have is self-care is going to make all my problems go away. So this is the myth.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about this?
So again, for the listeners to know that especially the topic of mental health, as with a lot of other topics, it's not going to be as black and white as this is a myth, this is a fact. Everyone's going to be having their own perceptions to, let's say, these certain statements we're going to go through. So the first one is self-care is going to make all my problems go away. It may be true for some people, it may not be true for some people. And where I draw the line is that if I just do self-care, meaninglessly, if I just do it for the sake of doing it, if I just go for a run, distract myself from all my problems are not going to go away. They're still there. It's just I took a 20-minute break from them. I do have to come back to them. But if I'm doing self-care in a manner in which, okay, I need a run right now because I need to clear my head, but I know I will come back to these problems. That way, it might make all your problems go away. But that's too, huge a statement to make. But you get my point where it's like, you have to address those problems with or without help. And in most cases, I would say, please get help if you need it. But self-care is just going to make you more immune. It's going to boost your capabilities to deal with those problems better. It's not कि भाग लिया, essential oil कर लिया, तो अब मेरा problem चला गया.
So
what do you think, Desmond?
Self-care is something like you train like a soldier to fight the battle, so you can, at least try to survive that. Like how you said, you go for a run, but after the 10-20 minutes you come back and you still have the problem. But what I would like to add on this point is that at least for me, it all depends on the head. Like for example, if I have something going on right now, if I keep thinking, the problem is this much only. It's not going to become big if I keep thinking a lot. Problem itna hi hai aur itna hi rahega. It depends on your mind how you need to tackle it and how you need to solve the problem. But yeah, self-care will help you, fight it much better.
Yeah, exactly. And like even this overthinking point you said, maybe that's your, maybe that's your nemesis. कि you have a problem of overthinking. तो आप उसको कैसे solve करोगे? कौन सा self-care activity या कौन सा ऐसा चीज है which will help you take a break? Like for example, if I'm, falling into a pit of just overthinking, I'm going down a spiral. I'm like, wait, I need a break. I'm going to go meditate for 10 minutes and then come back to it. So that gives you, like that self-care activity in particular, gives you a break from that negative habit of just falling into, a downward spiral. So the next one is having a good self-care routine is synonymous to having good mental health. Yeah, I think we've touched on these points where a good self-care routine doesn't assure you, is not 100% guarantee that you'll have good mental health. But it's a pathway to get there, like I said. So if I do have a routine, let's say someone has a routine of meditating for 10 minutes every day. वो meditation का अगर आप meditate करते हो, अगर somebody comes up to me and is like, acha, I do meditation for 15 minutes every day. I'm not going to be like, oh, you have great mental health. It's not as simple as that. It's these self-care routines are going to lead you to a point where perhaps you are able to get to a level of mental health that you want. But it doesn't mean कि अरे टिक 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 ये सब कर लिया आज के लिए अब good mental health. You know? Yeah.
See, what I feel, I don't know, I might be wrong. At the end, mental health is everything in your head. Okay? Now, for example, someone is listening to our podcast, okay? And they have an idea that they have to pick 10 self-care routine which they feel is nice for them, okay? They will say, okay, on Monday I will do this 10 things, and Tuesday I'll do this 10 things. But on Wednesday still they are not feeling nice. So this routine won't work till you don't actually be happy in what you're doing. For example, as I said, maybe on Monday I'll enjoy watching a movie, but on Tuesday I won't enjoy watching a movie because that same movie will be irritating for me. So this routine, I feel it will work for some of them and it will not work for some of them. At least for me, it won't work. So it all depends on the on my mood, basically. If you're asking from my point of view, it all depends on my mood. अगर मुझे movie देखने का अच्छा लगा, बस I will watch it. Tomorrow I don't want to do anything. Out of that 10, I don't want to do anything. I'll just lie down on my bed and I'll sleep and just do nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe that also can keep me happy, and I might, be happy doing that.
And this, while you're saying this, I don't know if you realize or don't realize, but you're checking in with yourself. You're not mindlessly doing, कल movie देखा, कल अच्छा लगा, तो आज भी कर लेंगे. मतलब you're being like, आज मेरा mood क्या है? आज क्या करने का मन है? Then that instructs you. You yourself instruct ki today what would be a good thing to do for myself. Today I don't feel like doing anything. Okay, cool.
Don't do it. Yeah. See, what I can say is, let's not be like a machine, like a robot or something. Like, आज का calendar में क्या है? You get up and see, okay, today this is the calendar. I feel like doing this today. Chalo, let's do this. I might not feel like doing it. That is why, according to me personally, I don't have any calendar. Okay, आज उठा, आज का mood क्या है? चाय पीने का है, तो चलो चाय पीते. Next day, I don't want to have tea. तो खलास,
Yeah.
So let's not, whoever is listening to this, let's not keep a fixed routine. Do what you feel like, which will keep you happy. So eventually, you'll have a good mental health. I hope you're talking sense.
Unless that routine brings you happiness. If that routine brings you happiness, like, again, it comes back down to you need to check in with yourself and be like, करने में मजा आ रहा है तो कर लेते हैं. Routine follow करने में मजा आ रहा है, please करो यार.
And that doesn't mean, whoever's listening to this, that doesn't mean that, मजा आ रहा है तो go and kill someone or do some drugs or something. Please.
Yeah.
We are not promoting bad stuff. We're just promoting good stuff, which will keep you really happy.
Yeah. We'll get to that also. That's a good point. And to not promote alcoholism and drug usage. Yeah.
Correct.
So, I also want to make it clear that when I say check in with yourself, and if your reaction is like happy, satisfied, relief, तभी आपको कुछ करना चाहिए. But the point of self-care is like assessing how you're feeling and then dealing with it accordingly. Like I had a long day of work. आज मजा नहीं आया. आज काम बहुत slow था. I didn't get as much as I want. Checking in with myself, I find that I am, I'm feeling a little down. I'm feeling a little, not feeling great. And that's okay also. It doesn't mean कि आपको हमेशा, ये happy, positivity, optimism का switch on करके रखना है. It's just कि अच्छा अभी कैसा लग रहा है? ठीक है, कुछ करने का मन नहीं है. अभी like you had a very long day. You feel like just having a quiet night to yourself. You don't really, wanna socialize. That's okay too, as long as you are doing this awareness check. That's self-care enough. It doesn't mean कि अरे sad लग रहा है तो अभी जाके भाग लेते हैं. Sometimes you just need to let your emotions simmer a little bit. See, like now I'm not feeling great, it's okay, calm hai. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, if it's like, you start feeling anxious, you start feeling very depressed कि आज तो बिल्कुल ढंग से काम नहीं हुआ, आज तो like, today was a very slow day, I didn't even achieve what I wanted to, I've been doing this for the last 3 weeks. Like this is going into a downward spiral. And here is where if you have good mental health, if you've been practicing good mental health, then here your instinct will kick in and be like, wait, array, take a pause, 1 second, it's okay, आज काम अच्छा नहीं हुआ, कोई बात नहीं, कल फिर
कल
से
करते हैं,
हाँ, yeah.
Take one day
So,
at a time.
yeah. So it's like even if you're feeling low and down, that's okay. It doesn't mean ki, oh, you're feeling low and down, now it's time to go meditate for 10 minutes. Now I'll be happy. What's the point of that? If humans were to work like that, we're not machines, na? We don't want to be happy all the time. I personally don't want to be happy all the time.
See, we are humans and we will have a good day and a bad day. We have to feel at the end. If you just tell me I want to be happy, I want to be happy, I want to be happy, but andar se nahi aa rahe, to how the person will be happy? Like, I know a lot of friends that they are working out or they are on a diet and they'll say, "Ay toba, maine ye kha liya, maine ice cream kha liya," and they get so worked up like, "Oh shit, I had a full bowl of ice cream, now I have to work out and this and that." Arey, chill maro baba. Relax. This thing also, you are continuously saying that, oh shit, I'm going to gain weight and this and that and all. This also will lead you to mental health problems. So the next one is you need self-care because something is wrong with you.
I think like similar to all the conversation we've had so far, it's like, it's something may be wrong with you, something may not be wrong with you, but that doesn't mean कि आप self-care करना छोड़ दोगे. You may have arthritis, you may not have arthritis, but that doesn't mean कि आप खाना छोड़ दोगे, right? It's like that, where like you may have a mental illness, you may not have a mental illness, but doing these self-care activities is just going to set yourself in a good position to cope with adversity, to deal with problems. It's especially if you think of self-care as just a check-in, which is the focus of self-care that I want to talk about today. It's going to help you in all situations. It is like, I know I'm trying to make this sound so easy and like self-care कर लिया तो फिर सारे problems को मैं deal कर लूँगा. It's not as simple as that, I realize. But like I said, it just sets you up to deal with problems better. Like if I've been, if I've been having a certain routine of self-care, like I do these things, I constantly check in with myself, okay, like, is everything good? Maybe it's not going that well, and that's okay also. Then maybe one day, like, I face a rejection for job. So, and that's going to be very heartbreaking. I'm not going to deny it. Like, you work so hard, you get to that point, and then, it's a negative outcome. It's going to feel awful. And you give yourself that space to feel awful. That in itself is self-care. So when I say you need self-care because something is wrong with you, you never know if something's going to be wrong with you or not. But you always want to, train your soldiers, like you said, to deal with all the issues that may come up. And just giving yourself on, like, like to continue this example, कि अगर किसी somebody did face a job rejection and now they're feeling really bad, but they're like, नहीं bad नहीं feel कर सकते, चलो कुछ करते हैं, उसका क्या फायदा? मतलब, why are you forcing, why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? You're going to feel awful and, maybe 3 days कुछ करने का मन नहीं कर रहा, कोई बात नहीं, मतलब maybe your body needs those 3 days. It's giving you a sign. Obviously, on the extreme, you want to do something on it, but I'm talking about a very general scenario where it's like you're allowing yourself to feel that way. You're allowing yourself to, be like, ठीक है,
okay, yeah.
It feels awful. I'm with you. But whatever it is, like, okay, few hours later, few days later, few weeks later, we're gonna be fine. It's just
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Even like how your body needs time to heal, even your mind also needs time to heal and get out of that problems, whatever the trauma, whatever. Yeah, the next one is self-care is time consuming.
Mm.
I don't think so,
Okay.
because if you don't take care of yourself now,
Mm.
then eventually you will end up having mental problems. And
Mm-hmm.
even just lying
Mm.
down on the bed and listening to music, and you don't feel that, okay, for 10 minutes I heard 10 songs, or for
Mm.
2 hours I watched a movie. Oh my God, this is
Mm.
self-care. Then
Mm.
obviously it is time consuming if you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking that way. If you think
Mm.
in a positive way, like, chalo, for 2 hours I'm going to enjoy this movie, or I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy a web series for 4 hours or for 4 weeks,
Mm.
then it is, then it is fine.
Mm.
I feel at the end, it depends on person to person how they take it, positive or negative.
I agree with you. It's like initially it can feel very time consuming and very effortful also. Like all this checking in, like हम बचपन से नहीं करते, but हम बचपन से खाना खा रहे हैं ना, तो इसलिए खाना खाना अब effortful नहीं लगता.
Yeah.
But initially, yeah,
Hmm.
initially these self-care activities, checking in with yourself, being aware of how you're feeling, all that can be quite time-consuming in the beginning. I agree. But then, धीरे धीरे you make you evolve it to a way that works best for you. Say, for example, I'll call my best friend and be like, कुछ random बात करनी होगी, but suddenly I'm like, okay, that happened this morning. I didn't feel very good about it. I want to talk to someone about it. तो उस बातों बातों में मैं, I will vent that situation out. And then just talking to her and like she'll say something to me like this, that conversation is self-care enough for me. Ki, okay, didn't deal with that in the morning. Now I have dealt with it.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
that's self-care enough. So maybe for some people it may be time consuming, for other people it may not be. Initially I totally agree that it can be very effortful and it can be very difficult. It's not very easy, but it's just a skill, man. Matlab, the more
Yeah,
you
yeah.
practice, the easier it becomes.
Hmm.
And the easier something like self-care and having good mental health becomes, the more it's going to be beneficial for you.
So let's go towards the last one.
Okay, so the last one is that self-care is anything that soothes you. This is the one I was talking about, like alcoholism and whatnot. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's basically the point I want to make with this one is that some people's idea of soothing or calming themselves down may be turning towards alcohol or drugs or binge eating, something like that. And those are that's much more gray. It's I'll give you an example of what I mean by gray, but it's you need to be more cognizant of the repercussions of these activities also, and that's also a part of self-care.
Hmm.
Like in the previous examples, if I said ki I know कि यार मेरे को if I do a 15-minute dance party I'll feel good.
Hmm.
Just if I put on some music, I do whatever I want for 15 minutes, and that makes me calm and like gets me to a clear head where I can solve my other issues or whatever it is. So like you'll know this. So for some people they may say ki, oh, alcohol like really calms me down.
Hmm.
Now what I mean by gray is that one example can be that you had a really long day and your colleagues are like, let's just go for a drink, let's just go for a beer. And in that moment, you're like, हाँ ठीक है, matlab, like I'm okay, I'm just giving myself a break. I'm not putting added pressure on me. I just want to go for this one drink and calm myself down, clear my head. Um, you allow yourself that easy night. You allow yourself those good times because you've had a really bad time the whole day. That is fine. But then when you're constantly like, when you use drugs and alcohol to distract yourself from those problems, that is not really self-care. तुम बस प्रॉब्लम
That is addiction, I believe.
yeah, exactly, like you exactly, it's what is the point of you doing that? मतलब alcohol से अगर तुम्हें if it's giving you a break from that really stressful time, then it's okay, like maybe that's just what you need in the moment. um but if you're constantly going back to it to deal with issues, not even deal with issues, like just to distract yourself from issues, that's gonna be an addiction. That's not really fun. But that's what I mean by self-care is not anything that soothes you, as long as you're also having that added layer of introspection and allowing yourself that space to feel that way, and then also being aware of the repercussions. जैसे डांस पार्टी का repercussion मुझे पता है कि मेरा head clear हो जाएगा, तो मैंने कर लिया. But if I know that alcohol is going to damage my liver in the future and that is giving me anxiety, तो फिर उस self care activity का क्या point? तो आपने actually enjoy नहीं करा ना.
So before we end this segment, if you can just give a small brief about, like a small message to our listener.
Yeah, so my small message is that there are a lot of lists and routines of self-care out there. आप करो, शायद आपको अच्छा भी लगेगा, but in my opinion, self-care is incomplete without having that little moment of introspection and be like, is this really something that is working for me? Is this really something, that I'm gaining good out of? Or am I just being forced to freaking go on a run? Am I just being forced to meditate for 10 minutes? Like, just to give you my example, like I've tried meditation and till now it has not worked for me. Maybe later it will work for me. But if I force myself to do meditation and I'm like, for 10 minutes, I'm like sitting there, but I'm just feeling anxious, then what's the point? Like, I can give you a list of self-care routines to do, but I feel like it's incomplete without that, added aspect of self-reflection.
Yeah, I feel it's person to person, like as I said before. And what I can say is that we will have problems till we die. Trust me. Even after dying, other people will have our problems. So that just chill, relax, and let's learn to take care of ourselves, because that is really, really important for us, because this is what we are forgetting. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. A special thanks to Chitra for sharing her knowledge. And thank you all for listening. See you, take care, and peace out.